Poop, what's up? Welcome to the Couple on Fire podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk all about the secret power of encouragement. When's that coming up?
Right now.
What is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome to today's show. We want to welcome you guys to today's show. If you're first time ever joining us, welcome. We are the Couple on Fire podcast. We are a couple that is on fire for Jesus and for marriage and for personal individual change and for a lot of things. So if that's something that interests you, we talk about all different types of topics. We are believers in Jesus Christ. We do follow him with our lives.
We talk about what we want because it's our podcast.
And then we get to talk about what we want because it's our podcast. That's what my wife said. So if that's interesting to you, you can subscribe to us, like our channel if you don't mind, and now there you go. So today we're going to be jumping into all kinds of fun stuff. I'm just moving some stuff around here real quick, getting us all ready to roll. So before we jump into anything today, what's on your mind?
Well, we have had a lot going on. So we celebrated Josh's 49th birthday. His birthday was...
Christy, you were awesome.
Thanks, Mary.
Josh is awesome too.
I'll see you tomorrow night, Mary.
Just saying, Josh is awesome.
So we celebrated Josh's 49th birthday. His birthday is September 5th. And so it was great because since Josh and I have been together, we, would tell the kids on their birthday, and of course our birthday too, we would say, that person, whoever's birthday it is, they could have whatever they wanted for dinner. And way back in the day, it was like something that we could make at home because we couldn't afford to take all of our chitlins out to get, to a restaurant. But as time has progressed, probably over the last 4 or 5 years, we've said, if you want to go to a restaurant now, we can take everybody to a restaurant. So it was great because, 2 of our kids are moved out. They live on their own. The other 2 are in college, and they have their own lives going on. But it was great because the 2 that are moved out both have significant others. And so they were able to bring their significant others and their kids. And then the other 2 were able to come. So we were able to go out to dinner and have all the kids. So it was fun. And then I also went with Graydon this past weekend. He invited me to go to see Beetlejuice with one of his friends and her mom. So that I always love going to the movies though for anything. So that was fun. And he is in college now. So he's been in college for 3 weeks. So that has been great. And then Josh, a lot going on, his hashtag this year, as many of you know, we choose hashtags for our birthdays and we do something that makes it rhyme. So his hashtag for the next year is 49 this year is mine. Well, he has a new business venture that he's been doing that he is got a brand for TikTok and Amazon. He's got an Amazon shop and a TikTok shop, and he is kicking butt and taking names. So that was a lot. I was ready for the question today. I just want to.
I can tell.
It's
the first time I think ever in the history. We've only had 250 episodes, so it's the first time. So it's good.
In the history of episodes, I was ready.
You were.
Yeah.
You were apparently ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot going on. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff, especially when, moving our youngest out to college. That was a different type of adjustment than what we were expecting it to be. So actually, I think it's been better. I mean, right?
It's went better than I thought.
It went better than what we thought. Yeah. Hitting 49, I didn't think that I would be doing what I'm doing now, but it's actually a lot of fun. It's very, very tiring, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to dive into this.
I know. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, this is actually a fun topic.
Because I know that you've probably heard us say this a lot, but we're in a season of change right now in our life. And that's the beautiful thing about life and marriage and all of this stuff is you're constantly entering in, it seems like, a new season of change. So we're on the cusp of being empty nesters, and Josh is starting to, do all these new things. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, this is good. And I think it's really important when we talk about encouragement. I think sometimes...
Encouragement.
Yes, encouragement. I know for sure, it's really easy to kind of get self-involved because when we're doing things, it's I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm, right? And it's real easy to get inward focused in life because life is hard. No matter how good things are, sometimes life is just hard, right? And so being an encouragement to your spouse can be really difficult. So I think those are fantastic points today.
It can be difficult.
It can be. Can be. But that's where being intentional comes into play. All right. So we have 4 points for you today. First point is fuel, don't douse.
And I got notes. I'm more prepared today than ever
Oh,
in the
man.
history
You guys are in
of our
trouble.
podcast.
So fuel, don't douse.
Yes.
Fuel, don't douse.
So you want to make sure that you're encouraging your spouse in their own passions too. And like I said before, we're in a season of change now. So Josh and I have been together for 13 years, going on 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire time, it's always been, him at home with the kids and cooking and all of that stuff, and me with whatever career path that I was doing. And if I was in a new role or getting promotions or whatever I was doing. So it was always focused. And then he was supporting, I'd come home and he'd support me and he'd hear me and all of these types of things. And right now, he is starting something new, and it's an adjustment for both of us. Like, I am having to learn that I'm not his job anymore, where I have his full undivided attention. And when I talk to him, he hears every word that comes out of my mouth and all this stuff. He can be very hyper focused on the things he does. But instead of, I've had the Holy Spirit really be convicting me of, he has done this for you. I've had 4 different jobs, I think, since we've been together. And he has done this for me over the course of the first year with every new path or venture that I've been going on. And the Holy Spirit has really been loud in my head with that to say, hey, remember, you need to be that for him right now and encourage him and promote him in his passions and not douse that. So him and I have been talking a lot, and I've been saying, like, because he's like, I know I'm obsessing. And I'm like, you need to obsess about it right now to get it out of the way. Like, obsess about it, focus on it, feel good about it. You'll figure things out. You're pouring everything into it, and then it'll level out. Not that you're not going to care about it as much and all of these things, but you'll be able how to juggle everything better and how to balance it. And your brain won't be as frantic because you're not learning all things anymore. You're only focusing on the few things that you have to focus on continuously for the remainder of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really important to not douse that new spark and that new passion that you have going on, but to encourage you in it and help you fuel that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it is a big twist when we start talking about different seasons of life and things like that. And we talk about, encouraging, like, are we going to fuel maybe sometimes, like Christy's saying, I think what she's saying is absolutely powerful because she's so used to things being a specific way for so many years. Well, we're in a different season now. And for her to say, hey, the Holy Spirit's really changed my heart on this stuff, that she wants to fuel and be an encouragement to me in this, even though deep down she's like, I feel like something's being taken away from me, is really hard to do that. Right. It's really, really hard to do that. It's hard for me right now because I feel kind of this codependent pullback on me a little bit to say, I need to stop focusing on this. I need to focus more on her. And,
right. And I have to encourage that.
And she has to encourage
to push against it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And that's where, like, I think this point comes in so powerful. It's easy to get negative and make slide marks to each other about, and then kind of douse out that little fire that they have burning because we want them to make us feel better about us, and that's where, like marriage, we have to really pay attention to the things that are being said and the things that are happening, that we're being a real encouragement, that we are pouring out. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? I understand there is marriages where one person pours all the time and the other person doesn't pour anything. That's not what we're talking about here, okay? This isn't the extremes of that. But what we're saying is that when it comes to encouragement, let's be cautious and aware of how we are fueling our partner and being intentional about that and not being a douser or trying to put their fire out.
Yeah,
I think it's important.
Fire out.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it's easy to do.
Don't critique it, encourage it, and then know that it will level out. And the more that you're encouraging that with them, it puts them more at ease and allows them to be creative and not have as much stress actually for it. But every time we say encouragement, I don't know if you guys have seen Couples Retreat, but there's a few, like there's 2 or 3 words that are in my vocabulary that are from specific movies, which encouragement is one of those, because it's in Couples Retreat and this guy is constantly like, encouragement,
Yes.
encouragement.
He's like the
Yes,
yoga instructor
yes,
or whatever.
yes, encouragement.
Yes, encouragement.
So that's what I think of every single time that we say the word.
Yeah.
So
But it is important that we understand like encouragement is important and we need to be intentional about it because it's real easy to be inward focused. Okay, so that's number one. So fuel, don't douse. Number two,
right.
how about boost, don't boast?
So this one really focuses on that it's not a competition. So a lot of times, especially in our marriage right now, I'm the one that's been on a career path, let's just say, and like going and leaving the home and doing all these things outside of the home, not just in ministry, like service together, like with church or something, but going out and having a career. And Josh now, this is something new that's for him, and he's starting to feel like a success and really all these things. And I want to make sure during that time, like let's say now that he's getting into it and he's having to deal with critics like from that and he's trying to adjust and learn and all this stuff, not to make him feel dumb because of that. Like it's not a competition, but I also don't need to be a one-upper about it. Like,
Mm,
yeah, like if you would have came and talked to me about this, I could have helped you with this, or I could have
right.
helped you with this. Like allowing him to learn, encouraging that learning
Mm,
for him and telling him like, yes, that's something new that you've never had to deal with before. It'll help you develop tough skin and
yeah.
encouraging that type of it through it.
Yeah, because I think it's real easy to feel belittled
Yeah.
in a marriage where like one person is like excited because they're on a new venture where the other partner has been doing this venture for so long.
Yeah. Like
And you're like,
I could do that
oh
better.
man, and you
Yeah.
probably could in some areas,
No.
right? But I'm just saying in some areas, right? Like the way that you handle the stress or manage it or understand team. I mean, you just understand things very
Correct. Yeah.
differently. And so I think it's real easy to boost or not boost, but boast to your partner and not be an encouragement and be like, oh man, all right, quit whining about that. Like it's not as hard as what you think it is, It's
Right.
really
Like,
not.
okay, well then let's sit down and let's chunk it out and let's plan out each day.
Yeah.
He has to
Which we've
learn how
talked
to
about.
do that. We have, but
Yeah.
I haven't. We haven't. It hasn't came from like, oh my gosh, I can plan this out so easy for you.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, well, okay, we'll sit down and like let's lay out everything in front of us, and then we can do it together to
Yep.
try to help you feel better about it. Not that I could do it so much better than him, but how can I support him and encourage
Yeah.
him with this extra, all these juggling balls in the air of how he can say, okay, this is how I have to do this day. This is what I need to do this day, and just help bring some clarity for him.
Yeah, it's funny. So every day, we'll talk about a little bit about what happened during the day. And no matter how, like today was like one of these days that I'm just kind of ho hum about it, right? It didn't pan out. Some of the stuff didn't pan out the way that I wanted. And I'm a little discouraged in some things, but she's always an encouragement. She's always boosting, always constantly boosting. But she understands the value in that in the beginning, right? Because it's the same thing that I would do for her when she would go into a new job. I'd be like, look, for the first year, we're not taking on anything new. We're not doing any of this stuff. And it's okay that you're stressed and tired, and we'll make room for that. And then you'll get, I'll make sure of it because I want to boost her
Mhm.
because we know it's going to get to a point to where she's like, I'm bored now. I'm bored, right? And it's because it's just her personality. It's my personality. I'll figure it out. We like efficiency. We're very good at efficiency things. So she understands. And so that boost helps keep me going through the negative times. And so it's really important that we encourage each other that way.
Well, and when the person, I mean, I deal with this at my work too, with someone like a manager or something that's having to do a startup of a new account. When the person that's actually in it doing the work, it's been 2 weeks, it feels like 2 months.
Yes.
And when it's been 2 months, it feels like 2 years.
Yeah.
And so to come in as the person that's not doing it and say, I know that it feels that way, but remember, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And this will get better and you will get through it because it doesn't feel that way when you're the one that's in it and doing it. So that's an
Which is true.
important thing.
Yeah, which is true. I mean, literally what I started 2 weeks ago. And it feels like 2 years, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. And I feel like I'm just anxious all the time and it's just this grind all the time. Love that. Making room for the stress of frustration. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And it's tough. It's tough. But having a good support partner is really important to boost, not boast. Okay, number three. Number three. What's up, Jason? Yeah. Words have impact. Ooh.
Yeah, words have a lot of impact, and we have to think both negative and positive
That's
words.
right.
You have to think about both, and also the things that aren't said that has an impact. So if you're not using words, if there's silence, or you're not asking the proper questions or being excited, like with him, words have an impact. It's also the words that I say or don't say.
Yeah.
So if he's coming to me and telling me about his day, a lot of times if I'm like, "Oh, that's great." If I'm not asking questions and saying, "Oh, wow, how did you do that?" Or how, and it's not fake, it's how can I ask a question off of what he just said to show him that I'm interested and he's excited about it, and it gives him the opportunity to delve deeper or explain to me something that he's excited about or learn today. And ultimately, it also helps me learn, right? It gives me a fresh perspective, all of those types of things. And then the second part of that is, in a positive way, how are you using your words to affirm your spouse? You need to make sure, especially when it comes to men and women, I'm not like, "Oh my gosh, you're so awesome." That's something that I would want to hear, a girl, right? A guy would want to hear, "I'm so proud of you.
That's right.
You're working so hard. You are so committed to what you're doing. I love this change that I see in you. I love the excitement." It's
Mm.
different words that you have to use to
Yeah.
encourage that person. And then also what type of love language they are. Like, does he prefer physical touch? So should I say, "Hey, I just want to let you know I'm so proud of you." I can say that, but touch him at the same time.
Yes, please.
It's it's all of those types of things, but a lot of times we're affirming our spouse in a positive words in the way that we would want to be affirmed, and we have to not do that. Or also maybe he likes less words than I like. Maybe I want a whole abundance of words, and he doesn't necessarily need that because it makes him feel like then I'm overdoing it or something. How can I get the point across to him in the least amount of words as possible? And that's by saying, using words that are most impactful to him. Like, "I'm proud of you, I'm this, I'm that." And but also then the negative words are, I want to make sure I'm not saying, "Why do you get so excited about that?" Or, "Why do you care about
Yeah.
that?
Why do you care
Why do
about that?
you think that is such a big deal?"
Mm.
Like, asking it in
Mm.
that tone,
Mm.
it's obviously important to him. So it's the tone of the words, because if I was more interested in it and being like, "Oh wow, why did that affect you that way? Like, what were you thinking about that?" Then he can tell by my tone I'm not belittling it. I'm
Yeah.
actually truly curious about why that happened. But if we belittle what our spouse cares about, it's going to make them feel small, and then they're not going to want to talk to us
We're
about
not
those
gonna feel
things.
safe.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, safe in the sense, like, I can't trust that I can
Yes.
tell you,
Yeah.
you're
Emotionally
not gonna
safe.
make me feel stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intellectually safe or emotionally safe.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
for me, I think when I think of words that have impact, I think negative and positive. But Chrissy mentioned something, a third thing that I think is absolutely outstanding, and that is the lack of words, right? The silence of words, not saying anything. That is like, I think that's way worse than negative words to me.
That affects you deeply.
Very
Like,
much
if
so.
he says something to me and I'm like scrolling on my phone or something and I don't respond to what he said, that affects him very deeply. It's disrespectful to him. Like, I'm not listening.
Yeah, it
So,
happened just before we got on,
oh, it
actually.
did?
Yeah, which is not your fault, right? So it was
Yeah.
my fault. She was in the middle of doing something, but I wanted her to show her a few videos that I had made today, and I had them on my phone and I was playing them. And then after I was done playing them, she was just like, "Oh, you distracted me and I didn't was able to do what I wanted to do." And I'm just like, "Ooh, like that hurt, but she wasn't intending that. I was just being sensitive about it, to be 100% honest. But I think that's, being have an understanding of yourself and like the way that things impact you, and also understanding your partner and saying, she's not doing this intentionally. First off, I'm interrupting something she's doing. And I'm like, I want the attention right now. Right. And then to not get the response that I want. And I think being cognizant of that on both sides makes our words super impactful both ways. Right. It's real easy for us to just take offense to every single thing that our spouse says. You never tell me this enough. You never do this enough. You always do this. You always do that. But is that the truth? Is that the
Yes.
truth?
Try not to speak in absolutes.
Right, yes, right? And I mean, honestly, is that the truth? And so I think when we talk about words that have impact, we also have to have our own understanding of ourselves of how we're receiving those.
But I think this is good because I didn't know that that happened, or I obviously, now that he said it, I knew that exchange happened, but I didn't realize that's what he made me feel. And I think this is really good for him and I to talk about this live on air so that everyone can see how we naturally would deal with this. So if he would have said, now talk to me, what he just told you guys about, like, You made me feel this, you made me feel that. What we would do then is say, okay, I didn't realize you were actually trying to show me videos that you wanted to see. I didn't know you wanted me to watch something. And if you would have said, babe, what are you doing right now? Can I show you some videos? I would have said, because I wasn't just playing a game on my phone. I'm trying to learn Spanish. And so I've downloaded an app called Duolingo that I do lessons every single day so I can learn Spanish and be bilingual. It's just something that I want to do. And so I was actually doing my Spanish lesson on my phone, like trying to go through and do this practice warm up thing that it has. But if he would have said, I want to show you these videos, I would have said, okay, literally have like a minute and 40 seconds left to get this done. And then I want to see the videos. But none of that exchange
It
happened.
did not.
It was
My lack of words.
right.
My
Lack
lack
of
of words.
words. But that I also, if he's like, what are you doing right now? I'm just like, just a second, and I'm doing this. And rather than I could have said, I'm going to be done in a minute and 40 seconds of doing a Spanish lesson. What do you need? Then he could have
Yep.
then explained it to me too. We both have responsibility in that exchange that just happened.
Hands down. And you didn't make me feel a way. I felt a way.
Right.
Right. And there's a big difference in that. I know you started with like, I made you feel. You didn't make me feel that way. First off, I didn't talk to you about it.
Mhm.
I didn't say, hey, I really want to show you these videos.
Yeah.
I just thought if I sat down and started playing them, you'd be interested in them. And that was an expectation, which was unfair
Right.
that I put on you. And that was a lack of talking. And then it backfired.
Because
and
you're
then-
playing videos all the time of yourself
Right.
because you're
Right.
critiquing them
For sure.
and you're editing them.
Absolutely.
And all of these things.
Yeah. But I
So,
think that's part of it, right? We expect our spouses to kind of be inside of our heads, and that's a super unfair thing to do.
but bring them inside.
But then, right, well, then
You know?
talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? Then don't leave it on the silence, is all I'm saying. Right?
Yeah.
Words do have impact, but we have to take our own responsibility in that.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4. Number 4 is teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, really quick. There's one other note about that other.
We're getting this one to go away. It's going away.
Sorry
That's
about
fine.
that other point because I thought this was funny. So, if lack of words, which can be dismissive, it's so funny because if you are dismissive on a day to day basis or not acknowledging or not talking to one another in the way each other needs, and then you only are communicating on a date night or when you want sex, there's not going to be too much in the emotional tank for each other.
Dang.
So that's what happens a lot is when you're being dismissive of your spouse and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I want you to dote all over me and be acting like we're this amazing affectionate couple when we go on a date night, or the husband's like, hey, I want you to just walk in the bedroom and take your clothes off. Those types of things aren't going to be happening because there's no emotional safety or communication happening outside of that. So,
Which just means there's no real connection happening.
right.
Which is the truth, right? And we have to have intimacy outside of the bedroom
Yeah.
and outside of date night, right? To have it everywhere else. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. It's good. Number 4. Number 4, teamwork makes the dream work. We can say that now.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
I just saw that. I'm like, oh, that was good. I should have said that. That point number 3 is what I had the longest notes about. So there
Okay.
was a lot that I could have missed. So teamwork makes the dream work this is stuff that can be fun. So you guys can't forget to check in with each other about what things you're doing together too.
Mm.
So what are we doing together? Where do we see ourselves in a year? Where do we see ourselves in 3 years? Where do we see ourselves in 10 years? But also like, where are you serving together? What's going on in your church together? Or what type of things, like he doesn't even know this, but I talked to my sister yesterday that lives in Texas for over an hour on my drive home. And she mentioned something to me that she's going down to a women's jail once a month to sit and talk to the women in like a round circle group or type of thing. And it, number one, keeps her humble. It makes her grateful for the things that she has and takes her outside of her comfort zone. And I'm like, wow, that's something I might want to start doing if it's just like once a month and it's not a regular thing, because that's something we're doing with Celebrate Recovery, where it was weekly. We were going and we were pouring into other people, and it was keeping us humble, making us grateful, all of that. But we were the leaders of it. So there was a lot of responsibility, a lot of scheduling, a lot of time taking into it. But being able to go serve, maybe even not at a women's jail, but at a women's Reform House or something like that, going in and talking to people and just hearing their stories and encouraging them. That's something that could be beneficial to me. But talking about that, maybe is like, "Oh my gosh, I would love to do that too. What's something that we could do together once a month?" To go out. If we could go to a soup kitchen and do that together to pour something to keep us grounded and be able to pour and serve into other people's lives outside of our church building. That's fun stuff to talk
Yeah.
about as a team.
It is, and something that, we've done for years and years and years. I've always kind of done Christy's job with her, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, if she had events going on for her work, I would go with, right?
Mhm.
She'd do overnights, I'd go with, right? She would have quarterly trainings and stuff. I'd come be part of that stuff. And so I've always kind of just inundated myself, with her in this to kind of go on this path with her, which is the exact same thing, which is what I'm going to want to do with the stuff that I'm doing. We have to be able to try and look at areas like, oh, this is my job. This is not your job, right? It's not that. It can be together. Like, we should want it to be together. We should want things to be parallel, right? But cross paths the whole time, right? Like, she does her job, I'll do my job, but they should cross. Our time should cross through that stuff. Because when they don't, we grow apart because we pour so much of ourselves in work things that we do, or even serving things that we do, that we really don't connect at all. And that is a big, huge mistake in team wise. Because then what do? You work all day, you come home, right? And then you're home for a few hours, right? By the time you work out, go for a walk, eat dinner, take a shower, and go to bed, you guys are with each other for like 2 hours max. You can't connect in those 2 hours. You need more than that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have more than that. And so if you're not bringing you guys' work life together, you're really missing the teamwork portion of it too.
Yeah. And if for your job, maybe you can't like bring your spouse to work with you for certain things. Bringing it into some of the things that you're doing at your work at home, though, could help. Like if I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation, or if I have to do a presentation, or I want to bring up a point in the executive meeting that I would like to see change throughout the company. I could talk, like run it by him, show him, or work through it with him, and he could bring a fresh perspective too and say, hey, you should word this, or you should make this PowerPoint look like this. And he could be involved and have some ownership with me in the things that I want to be doing at my work if he couldn't come with me.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that keeps us connected, and
Yeah.
we can encourage each other through that. When I do that, when I'm able to come and be part of like her work things, I then can have really good, deeper conversations about your work.
Mhm.
And then we can encourage each other through that. And it's like the things that I'm doing right now. I've told her even the last couple of weeks, I'm like, I want you to be a part of some of this stuff. Like, these are some ideas that I have. Like, I yearn for that because she is my teammate. Like, I don't want this whole separate direction that I'm going without you. And I think that's really important.
Agreed.
And we have to be willing to encourage
When
each
he
other through
first
that.
started telling me, though, I'm going to be honest, when he first was like, I mean, he's only been doing this for 2 weeks. So let's establish the timeline. He's only been doing this for 2 weeks. So after 2 days, he's like, I want you to start doing this with me. And I'm thinking, okay, I have a job. I don't want your job to also turn into my job. And then you don't want to do things unless I'm doing things. Like, I have a job. That's your job. And then I had to take a step back and be like, okay, this is something new that he's actually excited about, and he just wants me involved with him. He's not expecting me to be in every video and do
No.
all the things and all the stuff. So then I changed my mindset about it and started thinking about it. And what else could I do? Like, oh, if you go live, I could be a chat moderator, and like I could do all of these things. And I like doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
If someone comes on there I don't agree with, block. That's fun. Type of thing. So it's like, that's the stuff I enjoy doing. Like, I don't need to engage with you. I can block you. This is my show. I can do what I want,
Right.
type of thing.
Right. And that's it, right? And of course, it's not about making it a burden. It's about doing it together in a
Right.
way that is encouraging.
Though, that was me taking it that way. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I have a job and I have service things and I do this and I do that. I don't
Right.
need your job too.
Right. I'm not trying to give you my job. Okay. Believe me, I'm not. Believe my part, okay, is no different including you into mine is no different than me just taking a video of a situation. So it would not be hard stuff. I think it'd be
Right.
fun stuff. So, all right,
It
guys.
better be, or I'm not doing it.
That's right. She's going to shut it down. All right.
Block.
Secret power of encouragement. Listen, if we don't offer encouragement, if we're not willing to allow our partners to encourage us, I'm telling you right now, your relationship is going to suffer greatly for that. So make sure you guys are understanding what encouragement is and how to offer it and also how to receive it.
And ask yourself, when's the last time you did encourage your spouse? When's
Mm.
the last time you guys sat down and talked about it? Have you guys asked each other, do I encourage you in the right way? Do I encourage you then enough? When's the last time you have felt encouragement from me? Ask each other those questions, because you could be walking around, and mainly men, they're probably walking around like, man, my marriage is great and blah, blah, blah. And the wife's probably like, he's such a jerk. He never talks to me. Blah, blah, blah. That's typically the way
It's
that's
usually how
happening.
it works.
So sit down and talk to each other about it. Men, I know that you don't want to. Suck it up.
Right. My wife doesn't talk to me at all. It's great.
Pull
right?
yourself up by your bootstraps, sir, and go into that emotional conversation.
If your wife is not talking to you, then trust me, she's miserable. And that is
She's talking to somebody else.
true. Snap. I think we can end on that one.
So
That's
it's her
powerful.
best friend, or it's someone at work.
Or it's your best friend. Ooh, ouch. All right. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. If you hadn't had a chance yet and you liked the episode, please hit the like, subscribe, share, whatever platform you're on. Also, we'll be here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. live. Have a great night.
Bye.